Hey everybody, so you've been assigned a research project relating to the United States and World War II. First, I want you to think about what do you already know about World War II. On a sticky note, write down 3 things or words that you know that have to do with World War II. Okay, now share your list with your partner. Elaborate on what you wrote on your sticky note if possible. For many people, the mention of World War II brings to mind words like Nazi Germany, concentration camps, Adolf Hitler, etc. However, your job is to focus on the U.S. involvement in World War II. So how are you going to find what you're going to be studying about? Today, we're going to focus on browsing for topics, and then once we've narrowed it down to a topic, how can we search for information? So for this project, you're going to have access to a couple of different databases. Well, what's a database? Raise your hand if you have ever watched something on Netflix. Well, Netflix is like a database. It houses a bunch of different movies and shows. Within each of those movies and shows, there are different actors, settings, directors, dialogues, etc. One day, your little brother wants to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. So you turn on Netflix and search for the movie by title. You're able to find it and click on it and watch the movie. However, the next day, you don't know what to watch, so you decide to browse. There are all sorts of different ways that you can browse. You can type in a keyword. Maybe you want to watch a movie that has to do with dogs, and a whole bunch of movies and shows pop up. Maybe you know what genre you'd like to watch. Maybe you want to watch a comedy, or you can narrow it down by movie versus TV show, and then click through to the genre, for example, comedies. The databases you'll be using are kind of like this. Each database contains a collection of information. This information might be in the form of an article, an image, a video, etc. You can call up specific information based on how you search for it. Maybe you know exactly what you're looking for, or maybe you need to start broader and then narrow it down. Many of the items in the database are interlinked, so there will be connections between multiple items. Once you find something that works for you, then that can lead you to new sources. So let's take a look at our first database. We're going to go over into Follett Destiny, and I'm going to click Catalog. On the left, I'm going to go to WebPath Express. This is our database. Here, I can browse by subject. If I scroll down, okay, I'm looking for history, so I can expand that, and United States history, and then I can narrow it down by the time period that I'm looking for, the Great Depression and World War II. There we go. I could click on one of these topics to get more information. Another option here is I could scroll back up. Okay, I can also browse by typing in my topic in the search bar. So let's type in World War II, United States. When I click search, it says that there's 1,000 matches, so quite a few. I can kind of scroll through this and see if there's anything that catches my interest. So I'm going through. Here's just a general World War II article that can be found on history.com. I can see that there's a video and an article. I can check the grade level. I could add this to my list, or I could click the link to get to it. And it gives me a little overview of World War II, has some suggestions for topics. I could click See All to see more. So perhaps D-Day might be something that you're interested in, Rosie the Riveter. If I go down to stories, I see why did Japan attack Pearl Harbor? So already I'm getting some good ideas for more specific topics. Okay, let's check out our other source that we're going to be using. So we're going to go over to Mac and Via, and here on the left-hand side, you can see where it says databases. Click that, and here it gives you a bunch of different databases. So for example, on your smart TV, you might have Netflix, you might have Prime Video, you might have Disney Plus, you might have YouTube. And each one is going to be good for a different purpose, just like here. So we know that we are looking for something having to do with the United States involvement in a historical war. So let's check out Gale in Context U.S. History. So when I open that, I can search, I can browse topics. Let's go ahead and click that. And let's check to see if World War II is a topic. So here's a bunch of different categories. I could go through these, or I can use this drop-down menu. And I'm going to go ahead and click Wars and Conflicts. And here's Women in World War II, World War II Home Front, World War II American Involvement in. I'm going to click that. Okay, I get another overview. I could read more about that and again, generate more ideas for topics. On this page, it also tells me that there are biographies. Maybe there's somebody particular that I'm looking for, or I'd like to study about a particular person in World War II. There's magazines, websites, images, all sorts of different things. If I rolled down, I can click to view more of each of those, as well as related topics. So I'm going to go ahead and click read more here. And here's a general article about American involvement in World War II. So that's really helpful if you don't yet know that much about World War II, read an article, read something that gives you a background about it. And also you can add this to your Google Drive. You could email it, you can save it, you can print it. I forgot my glasses today, I can make it bigger. I can use the sidebars to find more information. I can scroll down. I can see where United States enters the war. I see words like Pearl Harbor. I saw words like isolationists and interventionists. Perhaps I could look at those two subgroups within the United States at the time of the war. Okay, I'm going to head back to my previous page. And at the top, we've already done browse topics, but this one is really interesting, the topic finder. I'm going to type in World War II. Okay, if I click United States, there's a little bit more in there. I could even make this a little bit more narrower. World War II, United States. Let's type it here, actually. And it will display it in tiles or a wheel. Here's what it looks like in the wheel. Here's one that had popped up before that kind of piqued my interest, Pearl Harbor. So when I click that, I can see different results. There's 24. If I go further into this and more narrower, let's just click December 7th, 1941. You can see that there's 8 results for that more specific topic. Okay, let's do a quick check-in. Does anybody have an idea about a specific area of interest? Okay, Pearl Harbor. So let's go ahead and continue with that. So now that we've narrowed it down, so I could use these articles, I could also go back up to the basic search. So I'm going to type in just Pearl Harbor. I see 142 reference articles. If I decide that I want to narrow that down a bit, I can filter my results, so I can use limiters such as publication date and only return information that was published, say, in the last 10 years. I can also do a more advanced search. So again, if I type in Pearl Harbor, I should see those 142 reference, and of course all of these other items as well. But let's search it a little bit deeper. So I'm going to do Pearl Harbor and World War II. Using the Boolean and means that it will pull up articles that have both of these phrases in them. And you can see that it's eliminated some of the articles. I'm down to 105. Now I'm going to revise my search a little bit more. So Pearl Harbor, World War II, and December 7th. So it would need to contain all of these words in order to pull up under this search. And you can see that cut it down to 35. So as we use the Boolean and, we get more specific. I'm going to go back to revise my search, and there are some great search tips in here. So if you forget what and or not do, go ahead and click on here. We could use or, and it would bring up two separate searches. So if I did Pearl Harbor or World War II, let's delete that, then it would bring up more articles, because the article could just be about Pearl Harbor or could be about World War II. And you can see there's 2,781. So or makes your general search a little bit more broader. Okay, let's try using not. If I wanted to find information about Pearl Harbor but not having to do with World War II, which wouldn't necessarily be for our topic, but just as an example. Okay. Or I could do it the other way around too. If I had World War II and not Pearl Harbor, maybe my best friend's doing something about Pearl Harbor and I don't want to do the same thing, so I'm kind of searching for things that do not have to do with Pearl Harbor. Okay, so lots of different World War II articles. When I go back to advanced search, we can also put quotation marks around terms so that it will search for terms together. So for example, for the Japanese internment camps, one of them was called Manzanar. But maybe I've read a fictional book called Farewell to Manzanar, and I don't want that. So I'm going to put that in quotation marks so that it will pull up Manzanar, but not Farewell to Manzanar. And it returns 15 different things. So I know that these will not be about that fictional work. So again, I can click on this. If I wanted to narrow this list down further, I could use these limiters over here. I could, when I click on an article, I can save it to my drive, I can print it, I can cite my sources. I can get more information that's connected to this as well. Okay, let's go back up to our advanced search and take a look at some of these other search tips that they have. So we placed things in quotation marks. So there's also things called wildcards that helps you find similar terms. So you can use the asterisk to stand for any number of characters. So if you just typed in CARIB, it would find anything that starts like that, and it could have any number of characters afterwards. The question mark stands for only one character. And the exclamation point stands for 1 or 0 characters. So, for example, if you are looking for color, but maybe you want to open it up to British resources as well, that's often spelled COLOUR, and it would include both of those. Again, it's also helpful to use limiters to narrow down your searches. You can identify what type of text you would like. You could identify certain levels. You could switch between U.S. history and world history, between the databases. You can limit it by publication date or content type, as well as different content levels and reading levels. Okay, let's head back to Destiny and see how we can do a more narrow search there as well. So this time I am in the library search. So we've used the WebPath Express database previously. Let's check out library search. This time I'm going to type in women in World War II and just do a keyword search. I see that 10 items are returned. Okay, so these are different books that the library has. You can take a look at those. But if I wanted to do a little bit more advanced search, I could go over here to where it says power. And let's try women and World War II. But I don't want Rosie Riveter. I want to explore other topics within women in World War II. So when I click search this time, it's narrowed it down. There was one book that was specifically called Rosie the Riveter, and that's no longer included in here. I can also use the information here to help me understand if it's something that is going to be helpful to me. For example, I would use this fiction book. If I needed to, I could refine my search. Any of these things, any of these books, when you are using them, you would need to cite them as well. So you would reference your materials that we handed out about citations, and you would make sure that you give credit to the books that you are using. I can click on a book to get more information about it. I can go back to my search results. I could refine my search more. I could include additional limiters. I could also use the same booleans or I could use any of these words, this exact phrase, so similar to putting it in quotation marks. Okay. So today we were able to investigate the topic of the United States in World War II by looking at two different databases, Destiny using the library search or the WebPath Express, or going over to Mac and VIA using the Gale Context U.S. History database. Take a minute now and discuss possible topics with your partner. Do you already have an idea in mind? Okay, next, if you have any questions, check in with your partner and then write any unanswered questions on a sticky note and add it to our chart so we can look at it further together. Okay, we'll be taking a look at these sticky notes over the next couple of course periods.